Starting today, my sister and niece will be under our care. We'll make sure they have food, clothes, a place to stay, and all they need, my husband declared firmly. Huh? What is he talking about? I thought. I mean, for the past month, my sister-in-law hasn't paid a penny for the house. We've actually been feeding her. Wait a minute, I said to him, not hiding my indignation. You didn't say we'd live with them all the time. Ronan looked at me, seemingly puzzled by my reaction. Lisa and her husband are divorced, so we have to help her and my niece. We're going to build a new house and start a new life as a family of 5, he concluded. I looked at him, trying to grasp the meaning of his words, but a strange clarity suddenly settled within me. It was as if the decision had found me on its own, surfacing from deep within. My name is Raylan, a 32-year-old housewife. I had been married for 7 years to my husband, Ronan, and we lived together with our 5-year-old daughter, Mia. I thought we were living happily as a family, but it seems I was wrong. It seems that what was most important to my husband was not me or my daughter, but his sister. It happened one evening. I thought it was my husband at the door, so I went to the front door, and there I found my sister-in-law, Lisa, and my niece, Liv, for some reason. I'm home, Ronan called out, entering behind them. Welcome home, I greeted him, feeling confusion and irritation start to bubble up. Why are you here, Lisa? I brought them here, Ronan replied simply, as though that explained everything. Hi, Raylan. It's been a while, Lisa said with a casual smile. Oh, hi, I replied, forcing a smile. I quickly grabbed my husband and questioned him in a whisper. What are you doing? Why did you bring them here? Ouch. What? He muttered, looking annoyed. I'm asking you, why did you bring them here? I repeated, trying to keep my voice low. I heard Lisa has some kind of trouble with her husband, Ronan replied. I felt sorry for her, so I invited them to my house. No, that's crazy, I protested. What? He asked, baffled. Don't bring them here without asking me, I told him firmly. Why not? He challenged. You want me to abandon my sister? You're so mean. I took a deep breath, trying to explain. I'm telling you to talk to me first. You're not alone in this house. Mia is here too. Look, it's not like they're going to be here forever. Ronan dismissed me, brushing past. Of course, I wouldn't allow them to stay forever. I've learned since we've been married that he's excessively attached to his sister. Even when we were dating, he would talk about his sister, saying she was his pride and joy, but I never had a chance to see the kind of doting affection that I see today. Because of this, I simply thought he was a caring person who loved his sister and family. However, soon after we got married, my sister-in-law started coming to our house a lot. She started to get in the way of our newlywed life, eating dinners with us, and going shopping with my husband as a matter of course. My husband didn't tell her anything at that time, but just said, "It's so much fun." Then my sister-in-law got married and stopped coming to our house before I ran out of patience, so I was glad. But now, for the first time in a few years, I'm afraid we're going to have to go through the same troublesome days again. I went back to the living room with a sigh. My sister-in-law was already lying on the sofa, watching TV. How audacious of her to act like she owns the place. But my husband seemed to spoil her even more. Lisa, you want some coffee? Ronan asked, smiling. Yes, please, she replied. Liv, I'll get you orange juice, Ronan continued. Yay, cool, his niece cheered. There is pudding in the fridge, Ronan added. I love pudding, my sister-in-law said happily. Hey, I interjected, feeling the need to stand up for myself. I bought those for Mia, me, and you. Don't be stingy. We should treat the guests generously, right? Ronan responded, sounding almost exasperated. You should at least be able to care for others. Huh? Are you saying that I'm stingy? I shot back, feeling insulted. My daughter looked sad as she realized her pudding was gone too. I bent down to her level and said gently, Mia, let's go to a restaurant. You can eat whatever sweets you like there. Really? Yay, she exclaimed, her eyes brightening. I felt sorry for my daughter, and I also wanted to calm down. Mia was eating a parfait at the restaurant with a twinkle in her eyes. I was sipping my coffee and thinking that I had to get rid of my sister-in-law somehow. Suddenly, I heard a familiar voice. Oh, there you are, Ronan said, surprising me. What? I replied, looking up in confusion. You should have at least prepared food for us, he scolded. I stared at him, dumbfounded. Well, I left your food on the table. You should have prepared food for Lisa and Liv quickly too. Raylan, you're not qualified as a housewife. My husband accused me sharply. What? What are you talking about? I asked, feeling my anger rise. Ignoring me, he picked up the menu and turned to Lisa. Well, let's see what's on the menu, he uttered enthusiastically. My husband and sister-in-law ordered steaks and a children's menu for Liv. I was planning to have a relaxing time alone with my daughter, but they interrupted us. And then Liv said, I want to have a parfait like Mia is eating too. Her mother chimed in. I'd like to have dessert after dinner as well. Ronan ordered 2 parfaits, and my sister-in-law and niece ate one together. How much do you eat? I muttered under my breath. I mean, you were eating pudding just before. That's why we came to a restaurant, Lisa shrugged. I'm so full, she said, stretching. Me too, Liv added, rubbing her stomach. I'm getting sleepy, my sister-in-law yawned. Ronan stood up, gesturing for us to leave. Well, let's go home, he said, and glancing at me, added, Raylan, take care of the bill. What? I gasped, feeling as if the ground had been pulled from under me. With that, my husband quickly left the restaurant. In the end, I had to pay for my sister-in-law's food out of our family budget, and since my husband ordered pricey dishes, the bill came to about $50. If only he hadn't brought his sister-in-law with him, we wouldn't have had such an expense. 2 weeks passed, and my sister-in-law showed no sign of leaving. My husband was so concerned about my sister-in-law and his niece that he wouldn't even talk to his own daughter. Mia was very sad and asked me in tears, Is Liv more important to him than me? All I could do was to soothe her. Liv isn't trouble because she was kicked out of her own house, so your father is just being nice to her, I explained. I knew I couldn't go on like this, so I asked my husband to improve the situation. Mia is very sad because you don't pay attention to her. I'm not saying you shouldn't be nice to Liv, but you should be nicer to Mia. Ronan gave me a bothered look and replied, Okay. His response sounded as if he were tossing scraps to a dog. I felt anger flare up again. What's that look? Are you really that bothered to interact with your own daughter? Why do you have to be so annoying? He replied dismissively. I will talk to Mia too. My husband's promise didn't change things much. He mainly only took care of his niece, and he took care of Mia in his spare time. It had already been a month since my sister-in-law arrived. Every other week I'd ask my husband, when are they going back to their house? But he always replied, I can't say anything yet. My sister-in-law and niece did whatever they wanted, and no matter how much I cleaned, the house kept getting dirtier. The apartment we live in is small, and we chose it because it's cheap, so we could save to build a house in the future. But whenever my sister-in-law and niece made a mess, the whole place felt chaotic. Originally, there was 1 room each for me, my husband, and my daughter. But since my sister-in-law came, I've had to share a room with my daughter, and the room I was using is now occupied by my sister-in-law. Just when I thought I was at the end of my patience, my husband dropped a shocking announcement. From today on, he began, we'll take care of my sister and my niece. We'll provide for their food, clothing, shelter, and everything else. I was stunned. What are you talking about? I thought. For the past month, my sister-in-law hasn't paid a penny for the house. Wait a minute, I retorted, not hiding my indignation. You didn't say we'd be living with them permanently. Lisa and her husband are divorced, he explained. We have to help her and my niece. We're going to build a new house and start a new life as a family of 5. I stared at him, not comprehending anymore. The words just slipped out of me. Okay, then I'm divorcing you. What? Divorce? He sputtered. Of course. I can't stay married to someone who puts his sister and niece before his wife and daughter. That's just jealousy, Ronan shot back. Jealous? Don't make me laugh. I want to leave because I can't stand living with those 2 any longer. Mia and I won't be able to take it, I scoffed. Don't insult my sister, he snapped. I'm just telling the truth. All they do is cost us money for nothing. It's like having a big kid and a little kid hanging on to you, I concluded. He lost his temper. That's enough. Don't piss me off. I'll divorce you or whatever, and I won't be sad to see both of you go, he exclaimed fiercely. I crossed my arms, unbothered. Well then, I'm glad. Here you go. I took the divorce papers from a drawer and held them out to him. I'd reached my limit and picked them up from the city office days before. He snatched them, filling out his section with his face flushed red. I took the papers, packed my things, and with my daughter, went back to my parents' house. Later, we had a meeting with a lawyer to discuss the division of property. My husband brought his sister along for some reason. She sneered at me. I thought I'd see with my own eyes how miserable you would be. Normally, I'd be angry, but now I just didn't care. I proceeded without hesitation. This is about what we've saved since we got married, so we'll split 50-50, I told my husband. Oh, that's a lot of money, my sister-in-law chimed in smugly. Well, it's okay. I can cover this with the money from the property division I split with my ex-husband. Good for you, I said, rolling my eyes. Are we done here? Yes, I guess so, my husband muttered. Well then, Lisa and I will build a new house and start a comfortable life together with my niece. Raylan, are you a single mom living in a shabby apartment? Poor you, ha ha ha, my sister-in-law taunted, laughing. I stayed calm, replying, I'll be staying at my parents' with my daughter for a while. By the way, I added, you say you're going to build a new house, but what about the land? What? My husband blinked, confused. Oh, I knew you forgot, I continued, feigning surprise. You're so off sometimes. He looked at me, puzzled. What are you talking about? We initially talked about building a new house because my father said he'd give us the land he owns. Now that we're divorced, the land won't be yours, and you won't be able to build a new house, I explained. His sister's face fell. Oh no, I didn't hear that, brother. I got divorced because you said we could live in a new house for free, she exclaimed. Not my problem, I said flatly. I'll be going now. I ignored my sister-in-law's voice calling after me and left the place with my lawyer. The look of despair on my husband's and sister-in-law's faces was almost funny. After that, I heard my ex-husband continued living in the apartment with his sister and niece. But with living expenses for 3 people, plus child support for my daughter, his savings were shrinking quickly. I also heard that my sister-in-law's husband left her because she was a terrible spender. I'm sure she'll eat up her brother's savings soon enough. Recently, my ex-husband reached out, asking to get back together, but I ignored him and blocked his calls. I also got a new job, and my parents are helping me take care of my daughter. I'm working hard as a single mother. My daughter is very attached to her grandparents, who adore her, and she doesn't even seem to care about her father anymore. She hasn't asked to see him once since the divorce. I'll continue to watch her grow up and live happily with my family.